Whether it makes you laugh, cry, scream, or fly, there's a song for every emotion. I'm Michaela May, and today I'm here with Mike and Priya to talk about the songs that make up the soundtrack to your life, because life is in the lyrics.
Hello to the listeners. Thanks for tuning into Life is in the Lyrics. We're always excited to have a guest, but today we have our very first singer-songwriter.
Yes, we sure do. Introducing the lovely Michaela May. Welcome, Michaela. We're so happy that you're joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and I didn't know that I'm the first singer-songwriter you've had, so this feels special.
It is special. And I do want to ask you which episode of ours you listened to before agreeing to be on this hot mess.
I listened to the one where crazy was in the title, and you were talking about mental illness and people referring to the term crazy,
Right.
and just how things have evolved over the years. I thought it was actually a fascinating podcast. I really enjoyed it. I was on my walk, my 10,000 step walk, and you'd sent the link, and there were really insightful things. I hadn't even thought about that concept, to be honest, with crazy, and then all of the. There's other things and connotations to that word now that maybe perhaps you don't think about when you're writing songs. So there was some really good points in there.
There could be some inspiration to some new work. Who knows?
I know, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Just credit us in the
I will.
backliners, in the notes of the album. Thank you so much.
I will. Done and done. Done and done.
Well, before we get into the episode, folks, let me give Michaela a proper introduction. She is not only a singer-songwriter, but she's also an actor. Born and raised in Aberdeen, Scotland, and now based in Toronto, she's been writing music on both sides of the Atlantic. She's written for other artists and for herself. We're so happy to have you here. Welcome, Michaela. First of all, how long have you been here in our neck of the woods?
I have been in Canada now for 10 years. And then before that, I lived in London. So my journey's kind of been, I was born and raised in Aberdeen, Scotland. I actually was a swimmer. I swam for Scotland when I was young. So I got a scholarship to the States. So I went to do college. I was a D1 athlete. So then I went there and did that. And it's like my other life, but I've been back and forth across the Atlantic many times.
Wow.
Hence for like the mixed accent. But yeah, so I've been here for 10 years now.
Okay.
So now before we were recording, you were talking with my husband, Don. Did you mention the swimming?
I didn't, but he told me that his ancestors are from Ayr, like his grandmother. So we were having that conversation about Scotland, and he said he'd been to Aberdeen, but I didn't say anything about the swimming.
He's a competitive swimmer, so he'll probably want to bend your ear after this as well.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we have even more things in common.
Yeah.
And I would just like to know, can you teach me how to tread water?
Of course, yeah.
You know what? So many people have said that, and they have tried, and I cannot tread water.
I feel like I'm always treading.
Yes, it's a metaphor for life. I feel like I'm always treading.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
Let's
Why not?
try it.
Listen, I love a challenge. So
Oh, please. I feel like that's a life skill I need to have.
I do feel like that's very important to know how to keep yourself
Afloat.
above. Yeah.
Yes.
Head
Not
above
metaphorically.
water.
Yeah.
Not
Metaphorically, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But literally, not so fine.
Now, Priya got very excited as well about having you on the podcast because, and she kept saying, "Oh, I hope she has a Scottish accent. I hope she has a Scottish accent."
I know. Wah, wah,
You can pick
wah.
it up. I can totally pick it up. I have a question for you though. My mom that grew up in England, and she when I introduced her to people will say, "Oh, she's got a nice accent," but when she goes home, it gets very strong. Is that the same case for you?
Yeah. And actually, case in point, I went back to Aberdeen. I hadn't been back in so long. I think it had been 10 years. And like within a few days, it's
like riding a bike.
But my parents don't live in Aberdeen, actually. They live in Portugal. So I've not been back to Scotland in quite a long time, just because of, every time I go home, it's either summer or Christmas, and I go to see my parents.
Right.
And so I've got no family left in Scotland.
Oh, wow. Really?
None. Yeah. So I just went back this December to see friends, like to see school friends. And it's actually, honestly, I was like so moved by going back, and I did not expect this reaction. But it was incredible to me just how seamlessly you just kind of fall back into how you were as kids. Like, I mean, I left when I was 17.
Right.
So, and I've been back a few times since, but really like it was, there's just a shorthand, there's a sense of humor. And I think all of your listeners will understand this, that people you grow up with, family, friends, there is just this very special thing that I don't think is attainable as an adult as you move on. You can have really meaningful friendships as adults, of course, and I have built those, but there is something extremely special. Like some people I hadn't spoken to in 10 years.
Right.
But so much has changed and then nothing's really changed at all.
Yeah.
It's like you pick up right where you left off.
Right where you left off. And I know some people think, oh, so, everybody changes so much. I don't think so. I think like your soul, like who you are as a person is just always there.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens in life. And life is a lot sometimes. But I do feel that I think people stay the same.
Yeah.
Give or take.
But would you say that they... I mean, I think for myself, I would say that I am the same. However, I am quite conscious as I get older to try and be the best version of that same.
I think it depends on the person because I've seen people go the other way.
The other way, yeah.
So I think it's like if you're on that journey of life and you're kind of trying, I always talk about trying to get blood from a stone, like
from the Blarney stone.
Yeah, from the Blarney, that's right. That's right. I think it depends on your outlook on life. If you're there to treasure every moment and get better as a human and just evolve and grow and do all the things that you're explaining. But I have also seen it go the other way where people feel not as inspired to do those things, which is sad to see. They almost sort of feel like, I'm too old for this now, or I'm too old for that now.
Right.
Or life hasn't been the way I wanted it to be, so fuck life. I'm going to just be a shitty person.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's sad to see.
Yeah.
But thankfully you're not one of those people. I'm not one of those people.
I'm trying.
Or Mike's not one of those people either.
Well, I think this actually is an interesting segue into one of the questions I had for you. Because as I was looking at your work and your bio and thinking about the life experiences that you have had, one of the things that I, especially when I look at the body of work, how have these life experiences influenced your music as a writer, like the lyrics that you write, and then also the style or the I'm not sure if genre is the right word to use because I'm interested to hear. Well, we're both interested to hear how you would define your genre, and but also given this all these different experiences in your life, how have those things influenced your creativity?
So much. It's such a good question because my creativity has evolved as I've gotten older. So, it's something that I used to fear, actually. So I've had incredible life experiences which have informed so many songs. But I think like the best work I've done has happened in the past 10 years. And I don't think that's by accident. It's because I went after the life I wanted. And through that journey, and it has been difficult, has come like my best work. Whereas before, so let's say, I don't know, like early 20s, I was writing good songs. I think I was lacking the depth of where I needed to go.
Right.
And I don't know if it's because I wasn't as experienced or I hadn't just experienced it
a lot
yet. I was sort of writing what was happening to me at the time. And I've been really lucky. I've had a really nice life. I've had great friends. I haven't touch wood. I haven't gone through anything that's been hugely traumatic. So I was writing what was happening to me at the time. But I think this sort of struggle of the last 10 years of leaving my full-time job, going in to be an artist full-time, that starving artist thing is real.
So real.
And it delivers, like as far as pure grit and determination of going after what you want to do. So I think I've written my best material recently, but I think maybe most artists will say that, like, oh, my most recent work's my best. But there was a song that I wrote 10 years ago that I still think is one of my best. And it is just from the experience I'd had in the music industry, being a woman, and you could go down the rabbit hole with so many things that sort of happen in the business. But I always take those things and just put it into music,
Right.
So I'm grateful for those experiences. Thankfully, nothing terrible has happened to me. I can't say that about some of my friends and colleagues, but we've all been in experiences where you're experiencing, misogyny, ageism. I mean, there's just so many things, and that can happen in any industry. To be honest,
Right.
It's not just music.
That's universal. The way that women are treated, universally pretty shite sometimes.
It is, and especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
So as a woman in her early 20s, trying to, deal with people in the industry that are older. And the majority men, it's difficult. But I do think something about this generation, obviously Gen Z, so the generation behind me, one thing I've noticed, they don't take shit from anybody. These girls, and I know them from like music, acting, and they'll tell me the scenarios and they tell me, this is what I said. I'm like, wow. I wouldn't have said that at that age.
Right.
I wouldn't have had the confidence, and also things have changed so much. So I do think that each generation, I just think is like, yeah, no, we don't say that anymore. Can't speak to me like that. That's really rude.
Yeah.
And they hold them to it. And I'm always so proud. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
that is amazing.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
The progress through the generations.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask that question because it seemed to fit really well with what we were talking earlier, but I did take a bit of a leap. So I apologize, Priya, from your questions.
No, that's
We have some more, earlier.
Rudimentary. Yeah, we just because we kind of want to know about your journey. Like you are an actor and a singer.
Yes.
What came first?
Yep. Music.
Music came first.
Yes.
Okay. And was that as a singer, or were you always a singer-songwriter?
I was a singer first.
Okay.
And then, so I'll try and compress it as fast as I can. So when I was younger, I was in like theater productions, but I have to say, and this is not a slight against my parents, but they were really not into me choosing the arts. They wanted me to be a lawyer, something stable,
right,
which,
Are they Asian? Are they Indian?
They're not, they're neither. They're Scottish. Well, my mom's English, my dad's Scottish, but they want their children to do well, as every parent does. And of course, as I got older, I understand where that's coming from. So I was, good swimmer, did the scholarship thing. And I remember saying to my parents, but I really want to do music. And they're like, well, just get a degree, like for the love of God, just do that. Right. And then after that, you can do what you want. So that's exactly what I did. So I got a bit of a late start in music because I also did my master's. I did a business degree and then I did a master's in communication and I taught public speaking. So that paid for my master's degree. Oh, wow. So it was communications 241. I remember I had taught it. So I was the TA, teaching assistant. And that actually funded my master's degree, which was great. Yeah. So, and I was offered that at the end of my undergraduate. And I thought I'd be really stupid to turn this down. Like, this is a good opportunity to do this. So I did it. And then as soon as that was done, I was like, right,
I've done it, parents.
I've done it. Are we happy now? I didn't just get one degree, I got two. Happy. And then they're like, great, she's probably forgotten all about this silly music stuff. Right. And of course I hadn't. So moved to London. I had done like a few songwriting demos. I did like a songwriter circle, kind of similar to what they do in Nashville. And there was a guy called Simon Ellis there, who is a big producer in the UK. Now, I don't know if you know the band S Club 7.
Oh, S Club.
That's it.
There ain't no party, not S Club party.
Okay, I love that. So he did Never Had a Dream Come True and Don't Stop Moving. Don't stop moving. Can you feel the music?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one. So he was there. And I had a little, because this was in CD time. So CDs, I had my little CD and we handed it to all the judges. And I don't remember what I sang. It was something of my own. And he called me up the next week and he was like, hi, Simon Ellis here. I was like, oh, hi. He's like, I just want to ask you a question. Did you write all these songs yourself? I said, I did, yeah. And he goes, wow. He goes, I want to invite you down to my my studio. He's like, let's just write a song together. He's like, I want to see.
Oh my God.
He basically was saying like, I want to see if you're bullshitting me.
Right.
I want to see if you can actually do this.
Yeah.
'Cause he's like, I remember you. And he's like, I thought you had something. He goes, I think we need to finesse it. Totally valid, of course.
How old were you at this time?
24.
Okay.
And were you like freaking out?
Oh, I was totally freaking. I mean, but like in the best possible way. I was like, oh my God, get to work. Because I loved S Club 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So good. So I went down to his studio and actually, this is like really sweet. The first song I ever wrote with Simon Ellis is called Never Gonna Give In. And it's on my upcoming album. I kept it because everybody that listened to this song just loves it. And they were like, you need to just do it in a country style, redo it, but keep this. Like, this song's really special.
Cool.
So this was like our first experience. And that song, I got signed to an independent label. It came out, like, my music video was on in like Spain. I had friends that were on holiday and they were like, oh my God, I saw you on TV, or I heard your song on the radio. And so it got to all these like it was like a small amount of success. But that song was on this compilation called Superventas, which came out. It's like a Spanish compilation. It's kind of like there was like compilations that used to come out of the year of all the songs. And mine was on there in between Lady Gaga and Pink. And I was like,
my God.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So at this point, I'm like flying high. I'm like, it's all happening. Everything's happening. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
That is happening. So as quick as it happened, it didn't. And the independent label went into liquidation and everything stopped. Like, it was just done. So at that stage, Simon Ellis was like, here's what I think you should do. Because I was like heartbroken.
Oh, of course.
And I at the time, I didn't have a great knowledge of the business. So he said, here's what I think you should do. He's like, I think you need to focus on your songwriting. He's like, focus on that. He's like, that's your ace card. He's like, just keep doing that. We wrote several songs together. He said, focus on that. And he's like, I'll see what I can do on my end. He ended up like, I had a meeting with Britney Spears' manager.
Wow.
I went to her circus tour or whatever it was, or maybe it was it was the Femme Fatale, was the one right after it. And I met with Simon Fuller, sorry, not him. That was the Spice Girls. So Simon Fuller, he sent my stuff to Simon Fuller, who's the old Spice Girls manager.
Right.
And then Britney's old manager, who I can see, Larry Rudolph, met with him, and he heard Never Gonna Give In, and he was like, what are you doing with this? Like, that's a hit. Like, what are you doing? And I didn't want to say like, well, the label, like, start complaining. I said, well, we'll see what we can do. And he's like, yeah, you just like keep going. And then after that, I just started moving into songwriting sessions. So I started just working for other people. I thought at that stage my career would be that. I thought I'm going to be the person that's coming in, writing for people. And I got like a lot of joy out of that. I have to say, I am not the kind of artist that needs to be front and center. Some artists do. They're like, I'm never going to be behind the scenes. Like, I need to be on stage. And I love that about artists. Honestly, I never used to think like, oh God, like massive eye roll. I was like, wow, like they know exactly what they want and they're good at it. But I was quite happy. I was like, well, I'm on stage. I'm not on stage. I'm writing songs. I'm cool. I just want a career in this. That's all I want. Yeah. So then that happened for like a couple of years in London. And another fun fact, one of the other songs that I wrote in that time is also on my upcoming record, and it's the single that's coming out next in June.
Oh my God.
And I wrote that song for Little Mix. Do you guys know who Little Mix is?
Yeah.
So it was one of those sessions I was doing, and Little Mix at the time, their vocal producer was in this kind of songwriting camp, which I was on. And Little Mix were talking about trying to cross over. So they were, they are a UK girl band that got formed in the X Factor UK.
Right.
Simon
Cowell. Yeah. So 4 girls, gorgeous, great singers, really charismatic. They put them together and they were amazing. So they had been so successful in the UK and Europe. And then the label was like, we want them to cross to the US. So the brief was, we need a really commercial song that would work in the United States.
Okay.
So we wrote that song, and it was a country pop song.
Wow.
So the label heard it, they loved it, and they kind of held it for a little while, meaning that it was going to go into a bucket where they were going to figure out whether the girls were going to record it or not.
So it's like they got an option on it.
Exactly.
For movie terms. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Oh, like so excited. Because I wrote it with them in mind. Like,
okay.
It's very youthful. It's very collegiate. It has a feel that's specifically for them. And anyways, they ended up not taking it. They went off in an R&B, like almost like Destiny's Child route type of vibe, which worked well for them, I think. So then the song returned to me. And this is just so funny because like 12 years later, you just never know the journey of these songs, like Never Gonna Give In. And I don't mind saying it, Drink It Up is the next song. I mean, I wrote these songs a long time ago.
Yeah.
But you just kind of never know. And something very exciting just happened over the weekend. I can't say this person's name, but it's a huge Toronto producer, like massive 3-time Grammy Award-winning producer, just heard the song now, and he might do a remix of the song. That he loved it so much.
We got a little bit of a scoop.
You did. That's a scoop.
On the podcast.
I just heard about it last night, so I sang yesterday, and then we went to dinner, and I got the call.
That is cool.
What? I can't.
Wow.
So I don't know if anyone out there is listening, like don't put a time like frame on your art. Like just don't do it because you just never.
You never know.
You just never know how it's going to come back around.
It's so interesting. Like I have an acting background, like or a performing background. So, and I still act now, but now I act more just for fun.
Good.
Right? Like I have an agent and everything, but it's just for fun. I'm not trying to make it as an actor. I just enjoy. Like I enjoy acting. And I more than anything, it's not even the acting that I enjoy. It's entertaining. So I'm all about entertaining. I'm a performer in that sense.
Yeah.
So like, for example, if it comes to karaoke, if you ever go to karaoke with me, like it's always
it's a performance.
It's a performance.
Oh, I love it. When are we going?
I was just going to say, how do you feel about karaoke? Because I know a lot of real singers don't like karaoke.
I'm obsessed. And what my friends normally do to me is they give me like ridiculous songs to sing. Like, you're going to do Eminem, okay?
Oh my God.
They don't give me singer songs. They give me songs that they're like, let's make her so uncomfortable. I'm like, what? I'm not a rapper. What are you trying to do? It's just to make it fun.
Nobody can do an Eminem song. We talked about that recently, about Lose Yourself. And I love that song so much, but you cannot follow his cadence because it's impossible.
He's insane.
He's insane.
Yeah.
But so yes, also you're my new best friend. Anyways,
I love it.
Okay, so this really is Mike out.
No, Mike loves
You're also
karaoke
coming to
too.
karaoke.
So what I was saying was, in terms of like just the artist, like I find that like even thinking about Pink Pony Club, you know how she performed that on the Grammys this year.
Phenomenally.
But that song was released 4 years ago and got nothing.
That's right.
Dudsville.
Yep.
And she put it on stage because of what's happening in the States right now, political and all of that. And she wanted to make a statement. And now that song is a huge hit.
Yeah.
But she had written that song so long ago. So you're so right about like, you never know the life of an artist or of a song or of a movie or a script or whatever.
Yeah.
But also when you were talking earlier about being younger and being afraid of your own creativity, which I thought was a really interesting point, and I did not want to skip over it. It made me think of when I was just starting out as an actor, like wide-eyed and innocent, thinking, okay, I'm going to, this is going to be my career. I can't wait. I'm going to plan my Oscar speech now. I remember one acting coach saying to me that being an artist is like having a pilot light in your body. Like you can try to go and do your master's degree and do a different degree and try to do something else, but it is always still burning inside you, the desire to create.
Oh my gosh. That I've never heard it explained like that. And it resonates with me so deeply. Even as a child, and this is actually a regret of mine. I really don't have many regrets. I really wish that I had listened to that light. It was there. I loved dance class and singing and performing. And I was really steered away from it.
Yeah.
Really steered away to this academic route. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was a very like dutiful kid. Like I didn't want to do anything wrong, right? Like I want to make sure my mom and dad are like proud. I'm like, okay. but it was there. I mean, I can't tell you how many evenings I was like singing into my hairbrush and like it was very apparent. And I didn't listen to it for whatever reason, probably lack of courage. I knew that this was not a path that my parents were going to be proud of me for. And it was like not frowned upon, but they were just like, oh, for goodness sake, like you need to do that, do something else. So it's just amazing how it never left. And it still hasn't. Like even, some people say to me now, they're like, wow, I can't believe like you're still doing it. And I was like, well,
kind of an underhanded compliment, right?
And they don't know that it's underhanded. No, they don't. They genuinely are like, wow, I can't believe that you're persevering, you know? But for me, there's no other option. I've sacrificed a lot. I have put everything into this. This is the life that I've chosen. But, that light is like burning even more now than it did when I was younger.
Well, and it's interesting too that, people would say that to an artist, but if you were to flip it around, it's like, oh, well, you're a manager. It's like, wow, I can't believe you're still doing your manager job. Like, way to persevere and like, keep
way
up
to get
the good
partner
work.
at the law firm.
Yeah,
wow,
exactly.
You're still doing that?
How's that? Yeah, it's funny how we
look down on it in some ways.
Yeah, and
as a viable career or life choice.
But it also could be coming from a place of envy in that it's like you see artists pursuing their careers
like their dreams.
Yeah, they're following their dreams.
Yeah.
Right. They're taking a leap of faith and saying, okay, well, I think that I'm good enough at this to give it a go. Versus the person who's criticizing. It's like, okay, well, I'm doing basically what everyone's expecting me to do. And I've got like, I'm just like a generic, I'm a manager doing whatever, right? There's nothing really unique about a lot of these professional jobs.
Yeah.
Whereas you get to be as a artist, as a creator, you get to be unique and tell your story the way you want to tell it.
Yeah. And I feel like really privileged to do so. I mean, I have fought really hard to be here.
Of course, yeah.
But like in such a great way, like I'm so glad that I fought for it because as things start to change, like somebody, I can't remember who asked me this question. They said, if there was no money in the world, like let's just say currency didn't exist, what would you be doing?
Yeah.
Right now, today. And I said exactly what I'm doing now. And I know exactly who it was my acting coach. It was Suzanne. You met her yesterday. The lady, so Lisa was standing next to you, and then Suzanne on the end. She's my acting coach. Yeah. So she asked me that, and I thought, oh, I'm like so proud of that response because I'm doing exactly.
Yeah.
If there's no money, I would still do it because I love it. So it is like a great privilege to do it, but at the same time, it's not for working very hard to get there.
It makes it that much more meaningful when you know how much effort you've put in.
Totally.
I want to go back to the songwriting, and now you're recording again.
Yes.
And so it sounded, I say you're recording again because I get the impression that you took a break from recording. It's sort of the focus shifted. So the focus shifted.
Yeah, I wasn't the artist anymore. And I almost sort of branded myself as a songwriter, like the person that helps. If you're the artist, you would come in. Honestly, it's a lot of like it's almost like therapy sometimes. You'd have a deep chat with someone, or I'd ask you, what are you feeling today? Like, what do you want to write about? What are you comfortable talking about? What are you not comfortable talking about? It's such an intimate thing, songwriting. That's why I love it so much. It's like you can, we could come together. I've just met you today, and we could write a song together, and we birthed this creation that didn't exist 2 hours before, which is it's just such a beautiful thing, and no one can copy it or change it. It is unique to those people, and what we're talking about. But as far as I totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I was talking about the
progression from singer.
Thank you.
Yeah. How did you come back to it? Yeah.
Yes. So that's right, because I was very much in the songwriting side. So this is a fun story. So when I first came to Canada, I had an opportunity to go to LA, and we were doing some songwriting for Selena Gomez. So they do kind of call outs and they do these big camps for these massive artists. Like Beyonce does it. There's a lot of Rihanna when she was still singing. So, and everybody in their dog is writing for these massive artists. So I happened to be in LA at the time. And I just left London. So this is like me full time. Like this is me fully committing. Because I had a full-time job when I was in London working. Come out of that, fully committing to let the artist sing. And so we did the song and we wrote this great song. And the guy who sort of, it was one of her representatives from the label came in and he was like, can I hear what you guys did today? Sure. So like we're actually in Zed Studio. So it was like in Santa Monica, this massive, it's like, do you guys remember like the behind the music thing where like the artist would sit there in a huge studio?
Yeah.
So like sitting in there, it's like you really feel like you've made it in these like big studios. Really, I'm just the help, just helping. So I haven't really made it. But so he came in and he's like, okay, so play me what you did. So we did, and he was like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, I like it. Yeah, great. And he turned to me and he goes, what's your deal? I'm like, sorry? Like, and you're instructed when you go into these things, like you are there to serve the singer.
Don't speak until spoken to.
Exactly. Don't you say anything about anything else. You know, the fact that you sing is irrelevant. Like he can hear that you can sing. Okay. So I'm like, sorry? He's like, well, what's your deal? He goes, you're not just a songwriter, right? And I was like, no, I am. He's like, huh. He goes, so do you have anything? I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, do you have any material? And I'm looking at the producer and like, it's that moment of like, I was told I'm not supposed to say anything, right? And he just winked at me like as if to be like, go ahead. Like, he's obviously interested, so show him. I was like, well, funny that you asked. I was like, I just have written this song called 1954. And he goes, oh, okay. He goes, so tell me about it. I said, well, it's about my experience of, being in the industry and how, because I was told when I was 24 that if I had a 2 in front of my age, I was too old to be in pop music.
Oh my God. Really? God.
Yeah. So, and it followed me, right? Like this whole thing, it just followed me. And I thought, this is so ridiculous. Like I cannot, in any other profession, you would never say to somebody who wants to be a lawyer, a dentist, a business owner, I don't care what it is. You would never say to them, you've peaked at 22 or whatever age.
Well,
I just thought, this is so crazy.
That totally reminds me of some criticisms of Carly Rae Jepsen.
Oh, right? Yes.
Because she gets criticized for being a mid 30s pop singer.
Wow.
And some of her reviews.
So is Taylor Swift.
No, but Taylor Swift owns that's different.
She owns the universe.
She does.
Carly is, she's amazing and she's successful, but not at a Taylor Swift level.
Yeah.
But the reviews of her recent work, it's like, okay, well, how old are you? Aren't you 33 and you're talking about boys climbing through your window? And it's really derogatory.
Wow.
So
I'm not surprised, but that's, it's really disheartening that that's happening to her. She's a very talented writer, artist.
I love her.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think that we're on the topic of Carly Rae Jepsen, when she was with Scooter, I think they really fumbled her.
Totally. He dropped the ball with her.
He dropped the ball big time with her.
I totally agree.
She went and did some Broadway thing. And I'm like, what's going on? Right. You're just coming off of the biggest height of your career.
Broadway star?
And now, again, maybe as an artist, she felt the call and she needed to do that. I do respect it. But I don't know why. At that point, Broadway could wait, right?
Yes.
Like, do another 2 years while you're on that.
She should be much bigger than she is, and she is big.
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to distract you from where you were going, but that totally reminded me of that.
Yeah. So I mean, very similar to the situation with Carly. I mean, I was younger than her and still experiencing very similar conversation. So I wrote a song about it, and basically, it's about living your life on your terms. And I make the joke about this ain't 1954 is the tagline, right? Of women being controlled and there has to be this way and the societal norms. And really it is about how I I hate the fact that we still have these old school societal norms that still exist today. And I think even more interestingly, I wrote that in 2015 and I feel like it's more relevant today, which is a very depressing thing when we think about how we're regressing, which is not good. So I just explained that to him and he goes, play it. And I said, I really want this to go to like Kelly Clarkson because I'm in my songwriter mode, right? Not Michaela, the artist, songwriter. So I was like, I really would like to like give this to Kelly Clarkson. He's like, He goes, just play it. Okay. So play it, comes through these big speakers, sounds great. And I was like, yeah, this is a really good song. I'm proud of this one. So I sit there very quietly. And it's an awkward experience having like executives listen to your stuff because they just sit there, just deadpan. No expression. I'm even watching for like, is this toe tapping? Is it doing anything? No, nothing. So I was like, he hates it. He hates it. Okay. And the song finishes and he looks at me. We can swear, right?
Oh, yeah.
He looks at me and he goes, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like,
oh, nice. Nice. Exactly.
I was like, pardon? Like so shocked.
Yeah.
Oh and the producer like kind of just looks and he said, you're a fucking idiot. He goes, do not give that song away. He goes, that is a hit song. He goes, go back to Canada. He goes, I don't know why you're messing around with this song writing. He's like, it's great. You're a great songwriter. He's like, you have something to offer. And he's like, I can hear it just from this one song. He's like, that's why I asked you. That's why I singled you out. He's like, I know when I see it. He was like, you need to, he's like, I don't know who told you that this is where you need to stay. He goes, but you don't need to stay here.
Right.
So I came back and I released that song and then that's when everything changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and I don't even to this day, he didn't even introduce himself. I don't even know who this person was. He just walked into the room and was like barking.
Yeah.
But whoever that man was,
he set you on that.
He really gave me the tough love,
Yeah.
I would have preferred less of the expletives when we didn't know each other, but I appreciate that he felt strongly about that. I mean, I was really...
But he saw something in you and encouraged you to kind of follow that.
He did.
And not take a back seat.
Yeah. He was like, he was like, he's like, it's exactly what I thought. He was like, go and release it. So I released that song and it was on radio in Canada. And like, I was one of the first independent artists that got like significant rotation, specifically in Montreal.
Yeah.
Because the music director was a woman and she listened to the song and it just resonated with her. Yeah. And then it started resonating with different, radio stations. And then that was the shift really.
Yeah.
And then I went back into that, I did that. So that came off of my Rogue EP. And then after that, it was so expensive. The whole thing was so expensive that was like, I need to take time off to like recover financially because it's expensive to do this all on your own. And then I went back into the same thing. Well, yeah, maybe I should just write songs for other people, right? It's a lot to do it on your own. But getting back to your point about having like this like little pilot light, what keeps happening is it's like every time I go to be like, I'll just write for other people. Like I'm okay with it. And then life is just like, no, you're going to come over here or like, and then I started acting that was an actual fluke, but has turned out to be, oh my gosh, I love acting so much. I never ever considered it as a career. Loved movies, loved watching people on screen, but it was never something that I was like, wow, I want to do that. But I ended up working for Suzanne. Like I answered an ad.
Okay.
She put it up on like, I don't even know what it was, but I needed extra money throughout this whole process. I was like, I got to get another job. So I was her assistant for a year. Wow. And that's how I started to learn about like sides for actors and auditioning. I knew nothing about it. And I was like mesmerized by these people that were in her class. And she said to me, she goes, I think you should take a class. And I said, do you think so? And she's like, well, she goes, I think everybody should take an acting class once in their life. And she said, just do it, try it, see what you think. Because if anything, it'll be good for live performance. And I said, oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it. So then one class turned into 2, 3, 4. And then I ended up getting an agent. And then...
Wow.
The rest is history.
Yeah. I know. Like
the rest is her story.
The rest is it.
So I know I keep asking the questions. I'm sorry. I don't mean to take over, but I'm seeing some parallels between you two, Priya and Michaela.
Really?
the multifacetedness of each of you as artists, as creative people, right? Like Priya, you're not just an actor, but you're a producer as well, and you produce film, you produce television.
I have. I don't anymore, really, but I have.
No, but you have. Like you have that skill, and so these various dimensions of yourselves. There's that part of you that can be at the front, in front of the camera or front and center. But then there's also this part of you that really understands like all of the activity and the legwork that goes into making that front of house person shine and be something special. Is that common? Because usually the trope is, oh, the waiter or the waitress is an actor or a singer. Right. They're not necessarily, you don't really hear the trope being, oh, no, they're the producer or the writer or the director. So how is that? Like, is that a common thing when you were in that room with all those songwriters, Michaela? Were there other people in there that were like you that, had dipped their toe or, had the dreams at one point of being a star, a singer or something? And
yeah, there's one person I'm actually thinking of in particular. I would say some people are very happy being songwriters and do not want to be the front person. And they make that very clear. I would say it's about a 70-30 split, 70 being that the songwriters are quite happy where they are and they have no desire to be more. Then you get the songwriters that just so happen to be artists too. They're a little bit more well-rounded in the fact that they can write for other people, they write for themselves, they sing, and the people that I'm thinking of also do the other things too.
Okay.
Like really multifaceted.
Yeah.
But one of the best singers I have ever heard in my entire life is a songwriter. And I kept saying to her, like, I just, she'd sing the demo. Like we'd be in there and she'd look at me and she'd go, do you want to sing it? And I'm like, no, I think you should sing it. So then she'd sing it and I'm like, wow, like just, it's one of the most amazing voices to this day. And hearing her in there just, live, just nothing, just in the room she was spectacular. And I said to her, why are you doing this? Like, why are you not out there? Like your voice is amazing. And it just hadn't happened for her. And that was really heartbreaking to hear. Right. However, quick update is that I just saw that she's getting back into it, like as an artist.
Oh, wow.
So I think whatever happened in her life, we don't know. But I did see that she is actually going to forge that career. But when I was working with her, she was a little bit heartbroken, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know what had happened previously, but some songwriters are amazing singers.
Yeah.
They just don't, either it hasn't happened to them or they've gone off in a different stage in their life where perhaps they have a family and they're just like, well, I made this choice. Yeah. So going out on the road and being an artist is really not something I can do. So they stay in the business as a writer and it's enough for them.
Yeah. And it can be quite lucrative as well, right?
Well, if you get those big cuts, it can. Otherwise, no, not really. Just because of streaming, like there's just no money in songwriting. Right. You don't get paid to do these sessions either. So like when you go and write for people, it's not paid.
Right.
So you're just sort of like hoping that your song will be picked amongst all the others. I mean, when I say that out loud, I know like how ridiculous. Like the really practical people will be like, oh, for the love of God! Like it's like trying to win the lottery. But somebody has to.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone has to.
Someone has to.
So it could be you. You just never know.
You can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
Exactly.
That's what I say.
But I don't know. Do you experience that same thing in like working with artists? There's some people that are just quite happy to be production, editing, whatever it is. And then there's some people that just
want to be front and center.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my background is in film and TV more, right? And I was acting for a long time and then I did some producing, but then I also worked for this nonprofit that promoted Canadian film and filmmakers. So I interviewed tons of actors and directors and writers when their movies were coming out because it was all about supporting the first weekend of their theatrical release. And it's the same kind of thing. Like you have You have a lot of people who write scripts, and then you have writer-directors.
Yes.
You know, not every writer wants to direct their script. They just want to write the scripts and hand it off.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then you have like a lot of actors who just want to act, but there are some actors who want to also produce or also want to write or also want to direct. So it's different from person to person. And it's hard to say like, it's hard to say that there's any one route. Right? Because it's so subjective and so personal. But I completely agree that there are some people who enjoy being the center of attention and some people who shy away from that completely, have no interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also now, given the medium that we're in and, you know, TikTok and everything, now the demand of an artist is like, you have to be multifaceted now. You can't just be a singer-songwriter. Like, I just did a music video for Wooden Walls, which I did like a short film. So I did the shot list, I produced it, I did the locations, I was the catering, like everything. I was casting, the whole thing. But that's really not unique. It's what's going on with most independent artists. It's just you're required to sort of do everything up until somebody somewhere, like if you are interested in getting like a major label deal, you do have to elevate yourself to such a degree that they can just sort of pluck you and be like, okay, you've done all the hard work now. Thank you. We will now pour gasoline on it. Exactly. And that's why you're seeing a lot of independent artists being like, well, you know, I've done all of this. I've built my fan base myself.
Yeah.
Why do I need you?
Why do I need you?
Yeah.
And I'm also giving up probably quite a lot for this deal, like whether it's their masters or whatever the deal is, which, you know, is never good. Like, you can't ever really give up your masters, but, you know, they have to make that choice. And I think it's an exciting time because there's a lot of independent artists that are doing well and that are doing well outside of that major label system.
Right.
Touring successfully, making money, selling their merch, doing the art that they want to do, not being told what they have to do, say, look like they're in charge. And I think that just has to be like so incredibly fulfilling as an independent artist to be at that level, knowing that you've
done it yourself.
Yeah.
Every single fan that's watching you, you've cultivated that.
And you have ultimate control then over yourself, your image,
everything.
Your career. Yeah, it's a different world now.
Yeah.
In terms of how TikTok has created kind of these TikTok stars where you don't hear their music on the radio.
No.
Eventually you
do,
By the time you do, they don't even need you to hear it on the radio because they've already made their mark in the TikTok world, streaming millions and millions of streams.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to have a conversation. Maybe this has happened, but it'd be really interesting to have conversation with an independent artist and an artist that had been independent at one point, but then now they're like, they have the big machine behind them.
Yeah. And
to have that conversation about like, that's honest. I don't know if we could do it, but honest about like, what are the, because where I'm going with this is I'm thinking, I wonder if the independent artist, you know, you're told that this is the gold bar you're trying to reach for. You get the gold bar and then you've also lost so much control.
Yes.
There's all these people making decisions for you and you're kind of like being shuffled around and put into different boxes. And I would think that would be kind of demoralizing considering what motivated you to start out in the first place.
Totally. I think it would be fascinating to have that conversation because it's like the sacrifice of giving up quite a bit of your control, depending, I guess, on the deal that they get. Maybe if they have a good lawyer or a business manager that they can negotiate that no, artist X has full creative control still, and no, you're not getting the masters, they're just going to license it for a specific amount of time. But having said that, I still think that those people are making decisions for you. You can't, if you're functioning at that level of success, you can't be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
Unless you're Taylor.
Then you're...
And she's the queen of everything.
She's the queen of everything. Thank you. You are now my new best friend.
But she does have a powerful team, though.
She does.
Well,
she
she
has
does.
a powerful
Very
team, but she
powerful.
runs that corporation. She is the CEO, right?
Well, she, not only that, but she has final say on everything.
Yeah.
Like she is involved in every aspect of her career, from imagining the music videos to, the what her shows look like. She's involved in every facet, and not every artist gets that luxury, but she has built her career that way, and like very successfully. So.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you parallel that with you and your work and what you just talked about with this video for your recent release.
Yeah.
And you did all of that. Yeah, I mean, the difference is probably you're not a billionaire like she
I'm not,
is.
sadly.
But you had that total creative control.
I do.
Right?
And I am lucky to have that. And it's an interesting concept, because if I put myself in the frame of mind of like, what if somebody somewhere did want to come and offer you the thing that you've wanted for so long, right? And as I'm progressing in the industry, I'm like, I don't know if I want that. Like, I'm not sure now, because there's things you probably have to give up. I just wonder what that conversation would look like, because when you are in control of your creativity and what you want to say and what you want to do and all of those things, it's great to have that.
When I look at the song you released last year, Ultraviolet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I listened to the song you just released, Wooden Walls. They're very different in style.
Very different.
So, earlier in the podcast, I had mentioned something about we're interested in hearing about how you define your genre.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. And I think these two songs, they seem very different to me in style.
And they are different. Yeah. So I have always been in pop. I began in pop, and then I really leaned heavily more into synth pop. So people that listen to my older material would say that it's, and this is not me saying it, this is only what people sort of had told me, that it reminded them of like Kylie Minogue was somebody I got.
Totally. I wrote that down.
Did you write
I'm
that
like,
down?
this is like got the Kylie vibes. I totally feel it.
I mean, I take that as a huge compliment, because I love her and I love her music. So she was one. Robin, I don't know if you like.
Yes.
So sort of living in that car. I got Carly Rae Jepsen as well, quite a bit actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So sort of in that, on my Rogue album EP particularly, Carly Rae. But I think it's just we were sort of doing music that was 80s inspired. That throwback kind of 80s inspired pop was sort of where I was living and where she was living at the same time, deliberately. So I was doing that. And then of course, I love pop music. I've always loved it. But the reason for the shift is that I was given an opportunity to, as a songwriter, go to Nashville. So it's a very like funny story talking about art and how one thing informs the other. I got a role in a movie over the pandemic that has not shot yet.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's ever going to shoot, which is upsetting, because William Shatner and Dan Aykroyd are in this movie.
Oh my God.
And I'm still hoping somehow it happens. But I got a really small role in this movie, and I was so happy about it. And it just so happened that the producer of this movie happened to be also the music supervisor, who just happened to hear, and I don't know who told him, but that I was in music. So he contacted me and he said, I understand that you're a musician. I'm like, yes. He said, do you have anything? He said, can I listen to anything? He's like, I just want to take a listen. So he listens to all my stuff. So the Rogue stuff, the Abyss stuff, so that Ultraviolet's on the Abyss EP. And he's like, this is great. He goes, do you have anything that's like country inspired? And I was like, no, I don't. Sorry, I don't have anything. And then so we get off the phone. He goes, no problem. And I just happened to talk to my mom like the next day, and I was telling her about the conversation. And she's English. She goes, what are you talking about? She goes, you did a pop country song. Do you remember with Simon Ellis? And I was like, oh my God, I did. And I was like, Mom, I don't have that. She goes, I do. I have everything.
Oh
what do you need? I know.
Thank God for moms.
Moms are just the best. What do you need, darling? I have everything. So she sends it to me. I send it to the producer, and he was like, this is what I wanted to hear. And I made all these caveats. It's really old. It's like 10 years ago. Don't worry about the production. Just all the artist stuff. Like, again, going down the rabbit hole of like, I don't think it'll be good enough. You just like make every single caveat that you can think of, you know? So we had a meeting and he said, listen, he's like, I don't know if you've considered this, but he's like, your writing and he's like, your tone, I would like to explore this with you. Would you be open to going down to Nashville, doing some sessions, some songwriting? He's like, I know this person here. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would love that.
No, I'm not interested.
No, thanks.
Yeah.
Somebody offers you something wonderful and I'm like, no, thanks. I don't eat that. No, I mean, I was like, yeah, of course. So then a couple of weeks later, I think they'd watched some of my music videos because they told me they were starting a label and they'd watched some of my music videos. And then they had a meeting with me in Nashville and they said, you know how we talked about you just writing the songs? They were like, I think, again, this is coming back around. Like, like, I think you need to be the artist. Like, having seen your work, they're like, I feel this. Like, I feel this in my gut. How do you feel about that, Michaela? And I was like, sure. And I was like, but I'm not a country artist. And I said, I'm not born in America, I'm born in Scotland. And I said, if you're looking for somebody who has that feel, and in my head, I was thinking like Reba McEntire or Martina McBride or somebody, Faith Hill, somebody like that. I just thought, I'm not that person. So I was really honest in that moment. And I remember thinking like, the moment you're going to say this, Michaela, this whole thing just might implode. But I just felt in my gut, I'm like, I just can't be something I'm not.
Right.
And so I said, if you're looking for that, I don't think I'm the person. I said, however, I will write for this person and I'd be happy to do that. And they said, oh, no, we're not thinking that. They're like, we're thinking we put you in here and you write the songs you want to write. But they're like, we're kind of thinking like, you really remind us of like an Alanis Morissette meets Shania Twain. And I was like, if we're talking about that, that is something I can do.
Sign me up now.
I'm like, I am in. So that's what happened. It was an opportunity given to me from this producer from the movie that never happened. So like the door
Hasn't happened
closes,
yet.
hasn't
But
happened
something
yet.
happened.
Hasn't happened
Something
yet.
happened. And from that point onwards, I was in Nashville and I just wrote with this style. It's not country. It's not pop. I'm now saying it's country pop. Is it really? I don't know. Like, I mean, you know, like I really don't know. And I think it's such a hybrid. There's so many different things going on in my music now. It is all live. So like we recorded that half of my album live off the floor, which means all of session musicians in Nashville come in and you sing it all together. So the band's in there, you're in there.
Oh, wow.
So we take all of that material and so my stuff is now recorded that way. Whereas previously Ultraviolet,
Right.
I mean, there's so much synth work. It's all programmed. There's actually nothing organic in that song, right?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in Wooden Walls, there's not one synth. Everything is organic.
Wow,
Organic drums,
okay.
guitar, electric, acoustic, electric, bass,
Yeah.
and then background vocals and me. So it's a more traditional
Right.
form of production, all organic, but produced in such a way that it sounds modern and it still has my like pop flair. Like the big choruses, and I still have that writing style that I think will never go away. It is a pop writing style, but lyrically, like I really got pushed so much in Nashville to really push the story because there's so much like that's the beautiful thing about country music is they're amazing storytellers.
Yeah.
Storytellers. Just the best. So we sort of landed with this new sound that I have, and I'm now in this position of like, why was I just not doing this the whole time? Like,
Right.
this feels so much. This just feels very natural to me.
Yeah.
So that's the reason for the shift. It wasn't a conscious decision by me. It was sort of an opportunity that was given to me, and I took to it like a duck to water. I mean, I actually couldn't believe how easily I sort of just sailed into that.
I just want to backtrack a little bit here. Because you've said an opportunity that was given to you a few times.
Yeah.
And I think, in my view, the opportunity presented itself.
Oh, thank you.
And you made the decision to take that opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, that's probably a better way to
like
say it.
You're the artist.
Yeah.
And you're the creator.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't see opportunities, right? And others might see them.
Yeah.
I think in this case, it really is like this person saw something in you and they were like, okay, I want to explore this with you.
Yeah.
And then it was your choice to decide, do I want to do this? And even you telling that story and saying, hey, this could have imploded if you were about to say what you eventually did say.
Yeah.
But again, that to me is like, no, you took this opportunity and you helped make it the success that it is. So
yeah, thanks.
Very long-winded, but own it, baby.
No, thank you. No, I appreciate you saying that. It is true. I mean, they were my songs. And in fact, the reason why Never Gonna Give In, which is that song that sort of like hit for me first with Simon Ellis. So they asked me to send them like my top 5 songs I'd ever written, and we were listening to them. So we've redone them. So You and I that you heard yesterday is a synth pop song, which is on Spotify. So we've just redone them.
Right.
Like we country popified it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a word.
I love that.
But we chose some of the songs that I didn't want to lose, that were special, that I felt would really walk beautifully into that new genre that we sort of created. No, not that we created country pop, but this new thing that we're working in. So we kept some of the songs. I mean, there's lots of new stuff on there too, of course, like when I spent my time down there in Nashville, just writing ferociously. I mean, it was like something, I felt like the sky, just like the words fell out of the sky. It was crazy. Like, I feel like when you're in the element you're supposed to be in, I swear, it's like I always talk about, I feel like my head just opens and all of this stuff just comes.
Right.
And
it's like you've unlocked a door to something.
And it's like your whole body is like, yes, we've been waiting for this,
Right. You're channeling something that's truly authentic to you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think that's why this material is like some of the best I've ever written. And I'm really grateful to the producer, because I would never have considered this, to be honest. I hadn't considered it. I was quite happy in the pop world and kept doing it. And then we sort of found this sound so organically with these incredible musicians in Nashville, just so amazing. And they were amazing with me because I told them I didn't have a huge understanding of country. I loved some country musicians and I told them who I loved, but they all had the pop thread through them as well, and these musicians, where I was working with them, and because I co-produced the record, they kept saying to me, like, how do you feel about this sound? Like, they wanted to make sure that they were delivering something that I was happy with, because I told them, I was like, I want a specific sound. I told them, I had a sheet, I had a printed sheet of like notes for the musical director, because I'm insane. But each song I had written, like, I want pedal steel here, not here. I don't want slide for this, or like I was particular about like the instrumentation that I wanted. So the musical director's like reading this and he goes, okay. And he goes, I just want to let everybody in here know that Michaela's written something at the top of this thing. And I wanted each musician to go into my session thinking, what would Mutt Lange do today?
Oh.
Okay.
And I wanted that in their brain. Like what?
And Mutt Lange was Shania's
producer
for a long time, for those
who was an incredible producer and just did really unique things. And he took her sound from what it was to, like, of course, what she became. And they all know him. So I just kind of put that there, like, okay, so if he was here, how would he produce this session? And so they all kind of laughed, but it stuck with them because they kept saying, like, one guy was playing on one of my songs and he had chosen an organ. This is a keys player, like an organ sound. And I was like, but this guy had won CMA Musician of the Year. Like, he was Musician of the Year in the country music space.
Okay.
And I'm like,
I'm
gonna
have
to
right.
Literally. So I'm in the vocal booth and I'm hearing it through my headphones. I'm like, it's not right. Oh no, I don't know. Oh my God, like, what am I gonna say? I can't even play keyboards. So I come out of the vocal booth and I'm like just walking across it's a huge room where all the musicians are like, so you're walking over, and he's also in a little booth on his own as well. Knock on the door, hi, excuse me, hi. And he's like, yeah, come in. And he goes, everything okay? I said, yeah, everything's great. I said, I'm just gonna be really honest. I said, I'm not sure that the organ is the right choice for this song. I was like, and of course, I'm like, loved everything else you've done. Loved it. Everything's amazing. And he was like, oh, okay. He goes, what are you thinking? And I said, probably like a road sound. And he goes, yeah, okay, great, no problem. And before I closed the door, and he said, come here for a second. And he goes, don't you be afraid of telling me what you want. Because this is for you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank you. I said, listen, I don't even play keys. And I said, so there's a part of me that feels like I can't say anything. And he goes, this is your session. He goes, you tell me what you need. So we run through it. And then in my headphones, and it was great. Like everything was perfect. It was the only thing I ever said. And at the end, he's like on the mic and he goes, Michaela, how's that key sounding now? And I was like, sounds amazing. Thank you. Like they were so nice and so lovely and just like wanted the session to be like the music that I wanted to make.
Yeah, because it's your session.
Because it was my session and it's different. It's not, as you can hear, it's not like really country. Like it is and it's not.
Yeah, it's got a feel to it.
Yeah.
But it's more pop. I think pop country or country pop is a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to sit for
That's
the foreseeable future.
Okay, so the rest of the album. So you have another single that's coming out.
Yes, I have another single coming out end of June called Drink It Up. This is the one I wrote for Little Mix, but is now mine.
Nice.
So that's coming out end of June. And then I'm releasing a song every 6 weeks, really, till the end of the year. And then we'll release the album next year.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Mike, unless you have any final questions, I have one final question.
Go for it.
Our podcast is obviously all about music, how it's like so important in your lives and how it speaks to us at different moments. As a singer-songwriter, what does music mean to you?
So such a good question. Everything. I can't imagine my life without music. It has informed so much for me as a child, like so many happy times, always filled with music.
Yeah.
And now like I can't believe that I have this as a job because I just love it so much. And it means everything to me. Without music, I would not be the person I am today. It has taught me so much. Like music has taught me patience, one, how to be a lot more emotionally vulnerable, how to connect with people. Like music has been such a teacher as well, which I have to say, like I didn't really see that coming. Like I didn't know that the thing I loved was going to teach me so many things and so many lessons that I needed. I needed to be more patient about my career. I needed to be more emotionally vulnerable and connect with people, go deeper, because that's what resonates with people.
Wow.
Music's like an amazing thing.
Aww.
That's great.
Everybody, our little listeners, you can find Michaela at michaelamayofficial.com. Her current single, Wooden Walls, is out now, and we will post the links. And also check out the music video for that. I did want to know, and you can answer this after we're done, did you regret it? Because he asks you at the end of that video, do you regret anything? I want to know the answer to that.
You'll have to watch the video.
Exactly. The next single, as Michaela said, will be out at the end of June. The full album is coming next year, 2026.
Thank you very much for being here and part of our little podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It was so fun. I could have chatted for a whole more hour.
Well, we'll have you back because we will talk about Taylor's songwriting.
Let's
I'm
do
always
it.
looking for ways to do an entire episode just on Taylor, and he won't let me.
Oh, please have me back for that.
100%.
I would love to get into the deep dive of Taylor.
Let's deep dive.
Yes, I'm ready. The lore, everything.
Okay.
Yes. And let's go karaoke.
I'm down.
Let's karaoke.
Always,
All right.
always.
Little listeners, thanks for listening to this episode. And if you have any thoughts or you'd like to ask Michaela a question and you'd like us to relay that to her, you can contact us at lifeisinthelyrics@gmail.com, or you can slide into our DMs on Instagram at The Little Podcast. That's The Little Podcast. That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Bye.